Chapter 4. This is high school girlfriend, Kathy Cook, standing on the front lawn of her family home. Her father was a water engineer for the city of Toronto. He'd been a bomber pilot in the Canadian forces during World War II. That's his Mercury Cougar there in the background. Here's my grade 12 class photograph. Note the homeroom teacher to my left has his eyes closed. In high school, I was a member of a fraternity called Gamma Delta Psi. We were members of the Gamma Alpha chapter, which was located only at Thistletown Collegiate. Here's me with 6 other brothers of the fraternity. There was maybe at any point in time 20 active members. You can see the fraternity banner in the background. There were a couple other chapters in Toronto, but it was primarily a United States organization. It was founded in Brookline, Massachusetts, out of Boston in the late 1800s. Amongst its members were Douglas MacArthur, the World War II Philippine-American war hero, and others like that. At the time, the chapters went all the way down to Georgia. One of the fraternity rituals was putting pledges through hazing before they became full members. These could occur in various ways in various places, but here's one example of what happens during the hazing. I'm here with my other brothers in the Gamma Alpha chapter of Gamma Delta Psi. I don't know if we won something. The fellow to my left seems to be holding something with a degree of pride. The man standing to my right is Garth Graham, who turned up as the person standing in front of me in my grade 10 class photograph. The fraternity held an annual convention of all the chapters at a hotel on the strip outside Pearson Airport. That would have been in, I think, 1969. Here's a photograph of some of the brothers that were in my chapter of the fraternity. The man standing in front is my brother Wayne. Starting from the left, the others are Dave Bartlett, Paul Milliken. I've forgotten his name, but next person over is Dean Miller, and lastly, Phil Wolfenden. I heard from Phil Wolfenden in the late 80s, early 90s. He was working for a real estate development company. Doing fundraisers for charities was one of the things the fraternity did, sometimes in conjunction with a sorority. For example, washing cars on the weekend. This is a description of one of the events we had to raise money. We took over YMCA, which was in an old small church building in Thistletown, and sought to break the British Commonwealth marathon teeter-totter record, which, as the article indicates, was accomplished. We did become British Commonwealth record holders. It was well publicized on the radio and television, so it was a lot of good fun. Another photograph of our chapter members, and again, the man standing behind me to my right is the man whose name I cannot remember, but he is so familiar. This documents a reunion that the Gamma Alpha chapter had. I think it was in around 2015 or 16, somewhere in there. 3 or 4 of these people were of my vintage. The others came after me, and I don't really know them. The man to my left is Garth Graham, who was in that grade 10 photograph. He's gained a lot of weight. This photograph is of the people at that reunion who were in my chapter, Gamma Alpha, at the same time. We were all in high school together. Dave Bartlett to my right was suffering from cancer. He was going through treatment, so he was not in the best of shape. Behind me is Harry Oswin, and the man in the middle at the back is Phil Wolfenden, who actually, pardon me, was not in my chapter. He was in another chapter of Gamma Delta Psi, and it was based in Humberside Collegiate in northern Etobicoke. This is the grade 12 class photo that's been printed in the Klansman yearbook, which was the high school yearbook. It lists all of the people, all of the my fellow students in grade 12, my particular homeroom. I was the classroom representative to the Students' Administrative Council. I have no recollection of doing anything. An entrepreneurial thing we did in high school was buy by consignment a bunch of chocolate bars. These are quarter-pound chocolate bars made by the World Finest Chocolate Company out of Campbellford, Ontario. We had them printed, me and a couple of buddies, as fundraisers for the Student Travel Association, proceeds to assist our summer trip. We sold a few of them and sent the rest back, so we made a little money. It was kind of fun. The Thistletown Collegiate Yearbook was called The Klansman. This is the 1969 edition, the front cover. Here is my entry in that 1969, that would be grade 13 yearbook. It indicates my ambition is business administration at Western University. My destination is managing Max Milk. My act is waiting in line at the Motor Vehicle Bureau. Aversion, automobile graveyard. Say, so meanwhile So this excerpt from the yearbook, grade 12 yearbook, shows me in the as a Klansman representative, which meant I had something to do with putting together the yearbook. In the bottom half of the page, you see a photograph of me and my three colleagues who were on a panel representing our school on the Reach for the Top quiz show. Reach for the Top was a quiz show put on by the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. It was moderated by Alex Trebek, who will be familiar with most people because of his association with Jeopardy and Double Jeopardy. He would ask a number of general knowledge questions, and the two panels, one from our school, one from a competing school, would punch a button, a buzzer would ring, and if you were fast enough, you get to answer the question. Hopefully right. We won the first round, lost the second round to a panel from Northern Secondary School. There, two of the four folks from Northern were twin brothers, and they were really on top of things. It really pissed me off. I can still remember this day punching my button, and there's always a lag. So I think that I got to hit it first, but I didn't. The guys from Northern hit the button first. That was a contest where I did hit the button first before them, but I got the wrong answer. The question was, what's the source of the word barbarians? I punched the button in a knee-jerk reaction, gave the answer, which was, well, back in the day, the Barbary pirates used to capture people, and they would tie them up on a stake and burn them to death. And that's how they got the word barbecue from Barbary pirates. And there we go. They became barbarians. So that wasn't the correct answer. As you can see, the quality of marketing around Thistletown Collegiate was not of top caliber. Here is my grade 13 graduating photograph. grade 13 honor graduation diploma. The honor comes from the fact that I graduated from grade 13 and not just grade 12. I went to first year university at Western Ontario. This is a photograph of the folks on my floor of a wing at Saugeen Hall Residence, which was a brand new residence built for incoming freshman students. The whole building was full of freshmen. Men on one side, and on a wing on the other side on multiple floors were the residences for the ladies. I'm showing here in the back row. It was a wild place, as you might imagine, with this crew. A friend, Craig Archibald, and I set up our own little painting business one summer in order to raise money for tuition in the fall and so forth. And this was the flyer that we made up and handed out or delivered throughout our neighborhoods. We did well. It was a kind of enjoyable work, but and well paid. Here is Craig Archibald with a boat we bought together. It was a 16-foot snipe, used and heavily repaired. The insides were just coated with fiberglass to keep the wood together, I guess. That's one of the cars I owned, a 1968 or 69 Volkswagen Beetle. I used it to pull the boat around. It was and it worked fine.